Welcome to Ashley On, your one-stop podcast where we talk about health and wellness, spirituality, and all things new. Stick around as we delve deep into innovations to support a better world.
Hello, today's show is with Denis Vidnar. He's the founder of the Mushroom Hub in Detroit, Michigan. Denis, you're going to enjoy this show. Denis is a second-generation mushroom farmer, global experience, has lived all over the world, and he's just really passionate about mushrooms and the benefits they have for health and wellness. Talks a lot about, shares a story about how cordyceps cordyceps tea was a secret ingredient that the Chinese used. Everybody thought they were doping in one of the recent Olympics, and it turned out that they weren't. It was just drinking cordyceps tea, which is a fantastic story. It speaks directly to the energy and the recovery dimensions of mushrooms. Just a really good conversation. He's quite passionate about it, as I said, and I think you're really going to enjoy this show. Thanks so much. As always, today's show is brought to you by Packed with Life online tea store, the best immune booster and all-day decaf energy. I don't do caffeine, as I've said many times, and like most, I still look for that boost of energy in the afternoon, and I don't want anything that's going to keep me awake at night to be involved in that. Obviously, I'm looking for a strong immune system given today's global situation. An online tea manufacturer, Packed with Life, has a fantastic tea that I drink over ice every day. It's loaded with 4 mushrooms: reishi, lion's mane, chaga, and cordyceps, plus 12 organic adaptogens to give it a great flavor. You should give it a try if you're looking for immune system boost or energy boost without caffeine. Get yours today at the Packed with Life online tea store, packedwithlife.com. Use code ASHLEYON for 20% off and free shipping. Have a great day. Denis Vidnar, how are you today?
Doing wonderful, sir. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. The Mushroom Hub in Detroit. Mushrooms are big in Detroit, huh? Tell us about that, please. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Mushrooms are big everywhere. I mean, we're just catching on, right? I mean, the Asian cultures, certain European cultures have been obsessed with mushrooms for centuries. They've kept it a hidden secret, and now the spotlight. The spotlight of the West, always when the West puts a spotlight on something, then the whole world says, oh look, the West made it cool, while the rest of the regions of the planet were keeping it hidden to assure that they can have the longevity of life that mushrooms present.
Well said. As I understand it, you are a second generation mushroom farmer. Tell us about that.
Well, I consider myself a second generation fungite and a shroomster, but now I'm a farmer too. My dad is a mycologist. I grew up on mushroom farms in Asia, Europe, North America, and now I run an everything fungi company, the Mush Hub company, and we've launched the Mushroom Hub, being one of our brands, which is a direct retail mushroom and truffle boutique that we plan to spread across the North American continent to provide people the goodness of mushrooms hands-on. So I was very blessed growing up, seeing my dad loving what he does. When teachers used to ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I said, I want to be like my dad. And they said, oh, you want to be a mushroom guy? I said, no, I just want to jump out of bed and love what I do. And It just turned out the mushrooms really, in 2008, I joined my dad's mushroom farm while in college, just to help out the family. The recession hit at the time. Everything took a downturn. People were losing everything, and I jumped in to help my family out. And mushrooms just got part of me. Maybe it was the fact that I started eating mushrooms on a day-to-day basis daily. My breakfast in the morning was walking through the farm and picking fresh creminis off the bed and just enjoying that succulent first bite of that fresh cremini in my mouth. And I think that just took over my senses, took over my being, and here I am today, spreading the cheers and joys the mushroom brought in my life.
That's awesome. So a lot of questions for you. I'm very into the trend in healthiness and wellness in general, and mushrooms are certainly a part of that. Tell us a little bit about. I mean, you're kind of alluding to the consciousness that mushrooms possess in terms of what you're where your life has gone with regards to consuming them. I'm interested in what your thoughts are on just the general benefits of healthiness and health and wellness for people from consuming mushrooms.
I you, Louis Schwartzberg and Paul Stamets recently launched a couple of years back Fantastic Fungi. It's available on iTunes, Netflix, and all over the place. I highly suggest don't get the free version. Don't watch the free version. Buy it and watch it every so often, because every time that you watch that film, you're gonna realize the different components of mushrooms and what they mean in our lives. And as the documentary, I believe it would be, in my opinion, it says that 650 plus million years ago we separated from the kingdom of fungi, and we are today because of fungi. And when I sit here in the parking lot and I look at all these trees, around me, there's a mycelium network that connects all of them, and it's helping these trees communicate and bring life to us and our planet, right? So the connectivity of mushrooms is just now gaining spotlight. I believe that I believe that mushrooms are the reason why there's a vitamin D deficiency, not because they're here, but because we're not consuming enough of them. I believe that there is at least a dozen different diseases that people are battling today, which I believe the consumption of mushrooms on a daily basis to an ongoing weekly basis would have helped that person achieve preventative methods in order to lure away from that disease. When we walk into any forest here in North America, one mushroom that you can pretty much see anywhere you go is the turkey tail mushroom. It is almost as if the planet is telling us, hey, consume this mushroom.
Yeah, here I am.
Right. And the beautiful part about her is that you pick her and you come back a few months later, there she's again. And she's like, take me again, take me home, dry me, make a tea out of it, make me a tincture, make me whatever you want to do in essence with her to allow her to do what she needs to do to make you be better and healthier. Right. Mm-hmm. We're in a market now, and convenience is the plague of our time, and so we want everything quickly, right? The Mushroom Hub is I want people to eat 4 pounds of mushrooms a week. I eat 4 pounds of mushrooms a week. Some weeks I eat 5 pounds, 6 pounds, depending on, especially in the wild mushroom season. But I didn't get to that amount overnight. It took me a while to get to the point where I can say, okay, now I know that 50% of my meals are mushrooms, and sometimes even 100% of my meals mushrooms, right? Because of the convenience factor, we're seeing a lot of companies going into the business of mushrooms, and a lot of them are going for the wrong reasons. A lot of them are going because cha-ching is what moves the world around, right? And so They're like, oh, mushrooms are now the newest, hippest thing, so let's hop on the bandwagon and create a product. That's why, people should be very cautious of different products that are coming on the market, because you definitely want to make sure that you know where that product is coming from, whether it's sourced as locally as possible. And a lot of it is, is just good marketing, and it shouldn't be. Health should not be good marketing. Health should be health, and it should be as pure as possible. So that's what we do at the Mushroom Hub, to sort of go in full circle, is where we offer people the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to challenge Denis, and for the next 3 to 4 weeks to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I'm going to eat a different mushroom each day, and I want to see what it's going to do for my health. And so I always go sway left and right when it comes to mushrooms, because it's such a vast topic. So I may have not even answered your question.
No, it's good. It's fantastic, and I love your passion for what you're doing, and for for this and spreading the information, because I think a lot of people just are unaware, right? They don't necessarily have knowledge or understanding. So that's part of the objective of our show, is to try to help just educate people and bring awareness toward better ways of living, right? And one of the things, I'm very familiar with the immune system benefits of mushrooms and so forth. And I think I was reading on some of the press around you, or maybe on your website somewhere, there was something that caught my eye, and it was something about drop the pills. right? And that I'm always in favor of that. Like no matter what the situation is, drop the pills gets my attention. So tell us a little bit about what you mean by that, and specifically how mushrooms can help drop the pills.
That is a very loaded question there. And the reason why it's loaded is because sometimes my opinion offends people, because my opinion is based on the things that I've read and the things that I've seen. I'm not a pill guy. I don't
I'm
take
not either,
Tylenol.
so don't worry about
Yeah,
offending
yeah,
anybody. If anybody,
yeah,
if pill guys are listening, it's okay. I understand why
yeah.
I understand it. Part of
It's,
the
you know what?
education is to try to bring people out of that, right? Because I think most pill guys in general don't want to be, right? So is there a way that we can help educate them? That's the whole spirit of what I'm trying to bring forward.
We've lost our trust in the refrigerator. We've lost our trust in the food we consume. Hence why we in the morning have that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday pill popping component where it's like, oh, I'm not getting enough iron, so I'm taking this. I'm not getting enough vitamin B12, vitamin D, all these different minerals and vitamins. And they're like, well, you can't get it in food. And I'm like, well, I get my iron from mushrooms. I don't. And I mean, and maybe it's the planet telling us, you should only be consuming morels at a specific time of the year, which is, 3 to 4 or 5 weeks out of the year in different regions and so forth, that provides you the enough iron intake that your body maybe requires for that amount of time. The issue to go back on the supplement component is that, and the pill aspect is that there are numerous studies coming out, even before mushrooms, that showcase the efficacy of supplements and how I believe the number was like 80% of supplements on the market are actually all placebos. They actually don't have the vitalities that they're spreading on their marketing, and hence why it's such a gray zone. And where's the FDA on the supplement component? I believe it's still unregulated, right? And I'm completely out of that supplement world, so I don't keep up with it. But when all of these companies now started jumping on the bandwagon of going into mushrooms, well, you can source that product locally, either by ingesting it fresh or ingesting it dried or processed for that matter, or you're going to go on the basis of wanting the biggest bang for your buck, which is you're going to now source it in China. Now, I grew up in China and I love China and I consider it as one of my homes. But I also do understand what the Chinese are doing in regards to taking over certain markets. So when you're looking at the mushroom market today in the supplement world, I think it's arguable to say that 95% of all mushroom supplements on the market today are with ingredients out of China. And when we look at that component, now you have companies like Namex, for example, they're a Canadian entity. They have certified organic mushroom growers, in China. They test, so the mushrooms are grown there in the most authentic environments, some outside, some indoors, and they test that product. So after it's processed, they test it in a lab, and then they import that product into Canada or the United States, and they test it here to showcase the validity between the two labs to assure that that product is of quality, right? And then they sell it off to different mushroom companies. So then we get into the marketing aspect, right? Where you have 15, 20, maybe 30, 40 different brands on the market, which are utilizing the same source of that supplement in relationship to what you're consuming. I believe that the people of Namex are great people. They're old school mycologists, and they're doing good for their business and what they're trying to achieve. And any mushroom, in my opinion, in your system is a better than no mushroom. So it goes down to what I believe strongly, which is I think we should take back our kitchen tables, and I believe that refrigerators should be our medicine cabinets. Hence why I don't I praise what they're doing. I just wish it was more vocal on the source component in a lot of these companies would say we source local. Well, the fact that you buy it from another Canadian entity or another American entity doesn't make that product local. It makes your relationship local, and
Right.
you're helping and boosting another business. But that source of that product should always, in my opinion, be on the label, because it then allows the consumer to make a decision whether or not they're going to support the small mushroom farmer at their farmers market and their tinctures and their whatever else, compared to this company conglomerate, which is able to get it on a much cheaper level and then create all these marketing agendas around it. Right. So I think we're now we've definitely entered the decade of mushrooms in North America. This is the era of fungi, and this decade of mushrooms, I believe that the companies that are battling it out today on the market, half of them will not be around in the next 3 to 5 years. And as we go along, more will enter, more will drop out. And those that drop out they're going to drop out because the money was the factor first, because people will start to realize and understand that mushrooms are a product that should rather be in their refrigerator rather in a pill form. At least I hope. That's my mission.
Yeah. So basically you're saying, eat a healthy diet and a lot of the issues that require pills go away, and mushrooms are part of a healthy diet, and therefore you're just in a better situation.
When I hold talks in schools, my first question to children of all ages is, what do you think when you think of potassium? And everybody raises their hand, or they all scream out, shout, "Oh, bananas!" And I say, very cool. But what if I told you there are mushrooms that you can currently buy in your produce aisle that have more potassium per serving than a banana? And everybody's, that's not true. That's not possible. Well, that's not their fault.
Right.
The reason why we associate potassium with banana is one hell of a marketing campaign by the melon industry, right? And the Doles of the world, the Fifes of the world, and the rest of it. While the mushroom industry is the one failing there, because we have an industry where for 100 years you have families that have been in the industry doing their thing, but the marketing was never there. They just pushed that product out just like another item to be on the produce aisle, never actually outlining the significance of what it means to have that mushroom on the plate. Right? When you walk into that produce aisle and you look at all those vegetables and fruits, the only item in that aisle that has natural vitamin D, additionally, the only item that you can take home exposed to the sun 30 minutes prior to cooking it to gain additional vitamin D, is mushrooms. And it doesn't matter which variety, each variety takes it in, and each variety has consistency, potency of it. However, each one has different levels of potency. So like, for example, oysters and enokis in 30 minutes will gain enough vitamin D. Some even, there's a study out there that says 15 minutes, while other mushrooms are up to 30 minutes, right? And so when you then go on Google and you say top 30 diseases that people are battling and the reasons behind what is their one common denominator for those 30 diseases, it's vitamin D deficiency. So why are we living in a world where our politicians and these big conglomerate companies are telling us stay out of the sun, vitamin D, stay away from foods that contain vitamin D, or push them down, right? Like, why are we told?
You know the answer why.
Of course I do.
But let's not go there. And I agree with you 100%. I know the answer too. But yes, so convenience, back to your point earlier about convenience, right? You said it so eloquently. So what was it you said, or how did you say it?
Convenience is the plague of our time.
There you go. The plague of our times, because that's why everybody wants an immediate benefit.
Yeah.
That's why everybody wants the pill. A diet and exercise program takes a little bit of time. It takes energy and focus and passion and self-love. And I think a lot of folks, don't necessarily want to do that or aren't capable of doing that, right?
Well, it's fear, right? It enhances the fear component, because the more that you put yourself out there, the more fear you have because of failure. Because we're, when the Food Network came out, right? And this is back in late 90s, early 2000. I think it's early 2000s. And you look at you watch it for an hour. You know, it's more for entertainment that people were watching than actually cooking. Because at the end of the show, when they did, there was a poll that they did in Toronto where it showcased like how many foods do you actually cook from the Food Network. They're like, well, we don't, because we're so petrified of how it looks at the end, not knowing that 15 people took to make that plate look that beautiful at the end of that shot, while they're at home and it looks messy, and they're like, oh, this can't be as good as that. It's like, no, food should be messy. Do not, we're you know, sometimes the apple that has the worm is tastier than the apple that's all beautiful and shiny and great, because the application of chemicals that goes to make that product look that way is why we're battling cancer all the time, right? And so for me, it's you know, the Mushroom Hub for me, when I worked for other companies in the industry, and when I worked with companies like Whole Foods and such, my biggest education, and one of my PhDs in the industry that I consider a PhD, is talking to customers head on. And I would sit there and I was observe, because I would, you know, when I was growing my business, I used to deliver to a Whole Foods and then park my truck and then go inside and cook for people mushrooms, to show them what can be done in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 12 minutes, because time is of the essence. So I would have a mom going through and 2 screaming children, and I notice a microwave dinner that's 7 minutes, you know, to make. I say, hey kids, are you hungry? And I give them some shiitakes, 3 ingredients, and they both taste, oh mommy, this is so great, this is a dish, delicious. And I tell her, I was like, miss, it took me 7 minutes to make this. She's like, why'd you say 7 minutes? I said, because obviously time is on your hand, because I'm looking at microwave dinner, I'm looking at craft dinners. Those are all time components. The reason why you buy them is not because it's mac and cheese, it's because for 12 minutes you can have a meal where your kids are quiet, that you can do whatever you need to do. So how do we do that? How do we take that mentality of psychology of buying? Because according to make it illegal for people to buy anything in the middle sections of a store. It should be like one of those like club things, you know, where it says, you know, like by entering
warning
here, you know, by entering here, warning, or for that matter, by entering here, you're giving away your right to health, because that's what it comes down to, right? And so from that time, from 2008 all the way like 2012, 13, 14, I started designing my store, the Mushroom Hub, which I said, wow, I was like, I want people to have the ability of what I have, which is I work with, you know, anywhere between 10 and 50 varieties of mushrooms throughout the year, fresh. And I was like, how do I take all this product, put it under one shelf, and then showcase to people what to do with that product? And then I have people who are like, you know, this big alternative meat market that's happening right now and so forth. Everybody's talking about the alternative meat. You know, the 3D printed meat now is a conversation in Singapore, for God's sakes. You know, and I keep saying, I was like, guys, you're asking for meat. Mushrooms are here already. You know, like there's so many different components that mushrooms can help us to make our the experiences back up, right? Like we've lost the kitchen table. Right? A family of 4 rarely sits down a week to have a meal together, to share their experience of how their lives are going, to share their problems, to be questioned, to be put on the spot, to gain courage, to gain passion, to gain love, we've lost all of that, right? And we've lost it because this device that I'm talking to you on, right? I was reading an article last week from a neurologist, a child neurologist out he's actually from Serbia, and he talks about how our world of different generations today is so disconnected because of these devices that we're utilizing right now, where how can we expect a child to sit in a classroom for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours when we give them this device, which gives them every single satisfaction and every up and every down within 2 minutes of utilizing it? That's where, you know, the instant gratification of. So I look at mushrooms as the solution to the world's problems. I look at mushrooms as a fascinating gateway that will hopefully reignite the curiosity of the consumer and say, hey, if mushrooms can have the ability to give me what this experience that I'm having, what will garlic do? What will broccoli do? What will potato do, and the rest of it, right? So it's not just mushrooms, it's life, right? And mushrooms are life.
Yeah, that's great. And so you're very much, one of the things that I've felt in terms of my own consumption of mushrooms is that I have more energy, and I'm a caffeine free person. I don't drink caffeine. It bothers me, so I gave it up years ago. But like most people, I've experienced, the afternoon lulls and energy and such. And a lot of that goes away with a better diet. But one of the things that I've found that really helps is mushrooms with that. And you're direct evidence. I mean, you eat mushrooms 4 or 5 pounds a week, you say, and look at the energy that you have, right? So
Oh man.
Speak on what I call like kind of all day decaf energy, right? What do you have to say about that?
I listen to mushrooms. I will go sometimes a week without eating my Takis, for example, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks eating my Takis. And I'll walk by them in the walking cooler, and I will look at them, and I'll just pick them up and go make them. Because something tells me that I need to eat her for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. For me, it's a feeling. And I think that feeling comes with consuming so much of it that I know what the result is going to be. That is that lure, because I know what I can do with olive oil, pepper, salt, and sometimes without either of the three, just sprinkle water in an air fryer. Oh my God. It's like, I mean, it's not complex. It's not, you're not going to school when you go cooking. You're literally listening to your taste buds and allowing it to achieve what it can achieve naturally. Simple, effective, delicious, nutritious. That's what mushrooms are. For me, when I got into mushrooms, I started on the agaricus side. So we were growing cremini and portobello mushrooms. Creminis, to me, like, I don't understand. And if any agaricus companies, farms are listening to your podcast, I highly suggest offering people in your communities to come early in the morning. Don't invite your pickers to the farm. Invite people to come and try those succulent cremini mushrooms fresh off the bed, because when you taste that mushroom in that efficacy, in that a moment in time, your whole perspective on how food should taste changes. Now, there's, of course, talk on the aspect that mushrooms should not be consumed raw. That is 100% accurate. Mushrooms do have chitin in their cell wall, which a lot of us cannot process. So you can over time build up that toxic component, which can eventually. There's some people that say that they'll turn red after consuming or things like that. Nothing dangerous as eating a toxic mushroom that's deadly right from the wild, but there is something of essence also when you go down that path. And then when I got into the wild mushroom aspect, then I was like, oh my God, like, what's going on here? Like, hold on a second, put your foot down. Like, it was overwhelming, because I was like, what, 3 varieties, 7 varieties, 10 varieties, up to 144,000 varieties, out of which not all are edible, but starting to work with 10, 15, 20 varieties and taking each one just in a pan and realizing what they do. And then, just going about my day. For example, my introduction to cordyceps, somebody told me about cordyceps. I've never seen it before. Cordyceps are a whole ball of wax by itself. 10,000 plus species within the cordyceps family. And I have a shot of the tea, right? Like, literal shot. And I was like, holy crap, I was overwhelmed. My blood vessels opened up, oxygen came through, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then I read a report how some Olympics prior, I don't know if it was winter or summer, I forget that fact, but the Chinese Olympic team was accused of doping because they won so many medals. And in the end, it happened that they were drinking cordyceps tea before each of their events. And so they're like, well, no, we didn't do any dopamine. All we did was cordyceps tea. And so when people tell me, oh, mushrooms can't help me or this, I was like, look, don't tell me you hate mushrooms. There's a lot of people when they come to me and they say I hate mushrooms, that hurts my feelings, because again, going back to the fact that all these trees are connected by the mycelium network, the root of all mushrooms, mushrooms are the fruiting body of mycelium. And I say, look, that is such a strong word. Do you hate a person? Do you you may not like something, that's fine, but we must respect it, right? When people tell me
hate is never a good word in any situation.
Oh my God, never, right? And so when I tell them, I was like, okay, you hate mushrooms. I was like, okay, good. I was like, do you work out? Yeah, I work out. I was like, do you have trouble after? He's like, yeah, especially if I don't go to the gym 2 or 3 times, if I miss my spot because of work or this. I was like, okay. I was like, how about you try this? And they're like, what is this? I was like, just a, really, really cool, delicious tea. And they hop onto it and they follow the regimen, and they call me. They're like, Dennis, what is this? It's like, it's mushrooms. They're like, what? Wait, but I don't like the texture. I was like, this is the conversation that we're just starting right now, right? And people need to be amazed by everything that mushrooms give us. I was recently speaking to somebody who told me, again, they hate mushrooms. And I looked at it and I said, that's, again, very strong word. And I said, do you have anybody in your family that had a transplant, an organ transplant? And they say, yeah, I have. I was like, do you love that person? Oh, I love that person. So you're glad that person is here today? Yes, I am. Well, the reason why that person is here today is because of a mushroom called Tolypocladium inflatum, which actually allows your body to accept that foreign organ instead of rejecting it. Wow. So you may not like the texture of mushrooms. You may think that all mushrooms grow in poop. They don't. All the mushrooms on our menu here today in Detroit and in Windsor are vegan, considered vegan mushrooms, other than the wild, where we don't know what animal crossed by at that point in time in the eczema. But right. We really have to sit back and not put a wall up. We have to be receptive of the possibility of, number one, being open to being wrong. Every time before I walk outside my house, I always tell myself, today be prepared to be proven wrong. Today be open to grow. Today be open to learn. I don't know everything about mushrooms, but every day I try to know more, because every time that I read about mushrooms and I learn something new, I'm like, oh my God, how much I don't know. So right. Although time is the biggest factor where I'm today. It took me 15 years to get to where I am today, to understand that when I drink the cordyceps tea, it's because I need more energy. I drink reishi tea or chaga tea when I know I miss sleep. I miss that deep quality sleep. I turn to turkey tail and I turn to reishi and chaga. When I feel an overall just feeling of depletion, I turn to chaga. I turn to maitake. When I feel like I'm constantly getting these brain fog events, I turn to lion's mane. I don't eat every mushroom every single day. I constantly am mixing up. I'm constantly changing things up on the basis of listening to my circadian rhythm, listening to my body. I also fast. And the first thing, a lot of people say you should break your fast with a fat. I do. I break it with olives and then I add mushrooms, because I find that the relationship between us and health is us listening first. That's like the first step of all of it. And this is, where I'm going to be in 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, you'll definitely be with mushrooms. But now I'm on a path of hoping that by the end of this decade, we will have multiple stores of the Mushroom Hub across the region, where people will have the ability to come into the store and really open up their mind and realize that it's an investment in them. It's an investment in time, in health. Nothing happens overnight. I hate the pill component, going back to the pill aspect, because people think that by popping a pill, everything is solved. It's not. Pills are just the tip
creates
of
more
the finger.
Problems for you.
Yeah, we gotta go to the wrists, right? The wrist is where the issue's at. So how do we get to that risk factor? And I believe that by adding mushrooms to your meals on a day, you don't have to start adding mushrooms to every meal like I do, but start incorporating one variety of mushroom every single day going forward. And if you're and that's why the store now, I've become a lot more open-minded in regards to working with different companies, so that we have functional mushroom bars by Umbo. We have they actually have two different style of pills. One is for energy pill, and one is for sleep pill, like with reishi and so forth. And then there's a variety of powders and so forth, because I'm saying, okay, I hope that at least you'll buy 2 pounds of mushrooms a week, or 2 pounds every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so that you're taking in the natural fresh component, all while adding these other things into your regular components. So if you're a smoothie person, you'll take the powders. If you like the bar component, you have the bar. So you have different options into what is comfortable to you, rather than me shattering you and saying, oh, you got all these varieties you got to cook with now.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate your time, like I said, and your passion. Denis, it's been great talking to you. And I believe you also have got the Packed with Life tea now available at your store, right?
Amen. Yes, sir. It's we got the samples yesterday, but the shipment should be arriving today or tomorrow, and then that will be just another add-on. Actually, definitely it seems like it's going to become one of my favorites. So I'm gonna keep giving it a shot, because of the different variety components that is included in the teas as well.
Yeah, we'd love to get your feedback on it as we go forward, and because there's going to be new. I know they have plans to develop new SKUs and extensions with success from this first one.
And I'm happy to hear that. And once we open up the full store, right now we're in our first phase here in Detroit. Once we open up the full store in about 2 to 3 weeks, we're actually going to allow different people, anybody that walks through the store, to actually try what we provide.
That's perfect.
Because I want every person walking through our door to hold us accountable. When I tell you I guarantee this box for 2 weeks, I guarantee the box for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But you got to listen to what I say in order for me to tell you that, yes, you follow what it is, and this is what happens, right? So I look at the future as being extremely nutritious. I look at it as that nutritious factor to really enlighten our minds. And mushrooms we should heal ourselves from within first before we go into any other path forward. So the future is definitely going to be better. Just on the fact that you and I just had this conversation, which seems to be happening more and more. And I'm super thankful for that. And I appreciate your opportunity and interest in having this conversation.
Yeah, Denis, it's been great talking to you. And I look forward to getting to know you more. And we'll have you back in a few months, and you'll have more stories to tell about how the store's developing and experiences with customers and such.
And I signed a document yesterday, which is going to even have more things on our platter. So in 3 to 4 months, we'll definitely be able to showcase even more what we're doing for the communities. And I'm super, super happy, super proud of my team. And if you don't know what you're doing in life today, come to mushrooms.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Denis. Love talking to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, as always, this episode is brought to you by Packed with Life tea. I always talk about how much I love iced tea, and Packed with Life tastes fantastic. And I don't add any sweetener or anything like that. Just great tasting iced tea, packed with organic adaptogens, including the 4 key mushrooms: lion's mane, chaga, cordyceps, and reishi. Of course, it tastes great as hot tea as well, if that's your thing. And some people like to add a little bit of honey. But either way, no matter how you like your tea, you're going to love this tea, and it will boost your immune system, brain, lungs, and gut. That's why it's Packed with Life. So get yours today at packedwithlife.com. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Ashley on Nothing But the Truth for a Better You and Me.